Alrighty, folks. Thank you for joining us again this week for Hell Yeah Outdoors, episode 2. It's our second run. Taylor. Got Taylor Goodlett, Robert Holloway, here to do some talking outdoors with you guys. And, last week we talked about how we were 9 days away from the bow season opener. Well, we're 3 days away now. And it's nearly go time, Taylor.
It's almost go time. It's get or dead.
4 days. Today we just want to talk a little bit about where to hunt, different places to go, whether you're hunting on private family land or deer lease or public land, That's just kind of what we want to start out with today. Taylor, kind of talk about, some of the places where you've hunted over the year.
Well, I grew up in a family where we did a lot of hunting. My dad always took me growing up. Went to a lot of places. Went to Paint Rock, hunted down in San Saba. Went all throughout Texas, basically. Near Gatesville.
Okay.
This past couple of years, spent 3 or 4 years hunting down in Groesbeck.
Okay. Yeah.
Got a nice 8-pointer out there. Then the year after that, got a nice 6-pointer. Good deer down there. The upcoming lease that we got, well, not actually lease, but my dad actually bought it.
Yeah.
I'm used to saying the term lease because we always had to lease our own, and my dad's just now buying property. So
you're not leasing, you're owning now.
we're owning now, so it's a different ballpark for us. But the next place we have is in Palestine. So it's near Tennessee Colony. Hoping to get some good deer off that.
Heck yeah.
Hopefully we'll get some good deer off.
I bet it turns out pretty good. That's pretty good country over there.
It's pretty good. Whereabouts have you hunted?
Well, mostly all my life I've hunted out near, Brady, Texas, and more specifically Fredonia. It's over in Mason County. I'm very fortunate. We've had land that's been in the family for, over 100 years. 114 acres. It's a great place to harvest deer. We've always been able to rely on that place to get some meat and have family time out there. The only trouble for me is living here in East Texas. I'm, 5 hours one way.
That's a pretty good haul.
Pretty good clip to go out there.
Yeah.
So it's not always accommodating, and which kind of brings us to the next point. I started hunting public land a couple of years ago, and to me that's just a little bonus for me because we get to go down there and it's only hour and a half to some of it, and there's a lot of different public hunting places. In fact, I got the book right here that this is what the Parks and Wildlife sent me this year. Taylor and I both bought it. My wife bought it as well. And I'm going to tell you what, there's a lot of places in Texas to hunt in public land. Now, some of it is animal specific, and some of it's method specific. But there is plenty of opportunity to hunt in Texas publicly if you don't have a private family plot or a private, or a lease. A lot of people lease. If maybe you don't have the means and method to do that, you can still hunt.
And a lot of people, have the wrong misconception that, well, it's going to take a lot of money. I got to buy or lease out partial of land to go hunting when, there's plenty of available opportunities here in the state of Texas.
Yep, absolutely.
This year, we're going to try the WMA. We ended up and we got the $48 permit. So we're going to try the WMAs this year, try to open up a new opportunity, try to get some good deer off.
And that really just, the advantage to that is it's managed. Whereas like the National Forest and the National Grasslands, they're not managed for animals, they're managed for timber. But the WMAs are managed for the animals. So that's kind of part of it. We call and talk to them about that a little bit. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So there's several ways that people hunt. My dad, he's been hunting on the same piece of land, for the last 25 years, and he's got plenty of meat in his freezer. So it's really whatever works best for you, if you're hunting. Find out what works good for you. It may be asking somebody to hunt on their land. Don't trespass. That's one thing. Watch out for the purple fence post. You don't want to do that. But talk to people if they got a piece of land. You know, a lot of people don't mind letting you come out there and hunt, especially to get rid of pigs, get rid of hogs. You know, that can be there's ways to do it. So don't let not having a place to hunt slow you down and keep you from hunting. You know, and the second thing I kind of want to talk about today, you know, last week we talked a lot about, you know, different bows and archery. You know, today I want to talk about, you know, how you get into your hunting spot. You know, I'm not talking about, you know, just hopping in the car and driving to your gate and pulling in, but you know, I'm talking about like when you wake up that morning, what are you doing? You know, how are you going to get in quietly so them suckers can't hear you? Because you know they can hear good. I mean, they can hear every little detail. You know, half the battle to me is getting in quiet.
Well, it goes all into the preparation before the hunt. Got to get your pack ready. This year I'm incorporating a frame pack. He had a frame pack prior in the prior hunts. That way it kind of helps put the strain off my back, getting older. But the frame pack, it's a useful tool. You can use to carry a lot of weight with it. You do a lot of walking in the national forest. This ain't like going to a stand where there's a feeder. The frame pack, you can carry a large amount of gear. You have to go through your pack and organize it, figure out what's needed and what's not. That way it reduces some of that weight.
So you're walking in?
Walking in. I'm going with what the good Lord gave me. That's 2 legs. Going to walk in.
How far do you walk when you go?
It all depends. If you have your phone and a topo map, you look at the terrain, the structure. You try to look for water source, food sources. It's not like you have a feeder where you can just look at a feeder for however many hours and wait for the deer to come when the corn starts spinning. You have to find natural sources where you can hunt it.
A lot of people use the ATVs. To get in, you know, and I walk too. But.
And Tracker, you know, they've got a good ATV lineup. You know, they've got
Tracker
the 90, the 300, the 570, the 700. They've got a large number of ATVs based on the need and body size of who needs it.
You know, I would think that most hunters that are on leases or private family tracks where they got, you know, box stands set up or tree stands set up, they're probably utilizing those a lot.
That'd be
you
perfect.
Know, they're getting in the morning, driving from camp, which we love hunter camp, by the way.
For the quality and the price point, you know, it's kind of hard to beat. Bass Pro and Cabela's, they really had a home run with Textron.
So you can use ATVs, you can walk. You know, we've even been known to use a canoe.
Even canoe. Now, a canoe, it's silent, but it's deadly.
Yes, sir.
You can get in places that, you know, a lot of people don't go. And you can use that as a tool, you know, where most hunters, they'll park on the side of the road and walk in the woods, and what they're doing is they're pushing those deer to the natural boundaries, like the rivers,
like
the
river's
streams.
edge,
and coming in with a canoe, you can seize that opportunity and come out with some good deer.
It worked out for us pretty good.
It worked out.
What did we do? We did like 21 miles or 24 miles back in April.
Saw
down
a lot
the
of
Davy,
hogs.
you know, in the Natchez River down the Davy Crockett, and well, that water was moving fast. Well, it was like Talladega Super Speedway out there as fast as we were going. We didn't have to hardly paddle. All we had to do was steer. But it was pretty cool because we got to the you know, the national forest. They got signs up even on the river's edge, and we knew we were close because Taylor spotted a hog real fast, and boy, he sure wasn't getting antsy to go in there and shoot one. And we got in there, but lo and behold, we camped out in our living room the first night. I mean, what did we wake up about 1 o'clock or something like that? And we had hogs grunting all around us, and I didn't know I was going to pick a camp spot that was in their daggone bedroom, but that's what we did. It was pretty wild. Anyway, they lit a shuck and they got gone that night. We didn't see them again the next day, but we had fun trying. And a lot of it's the experience.
And a lot of it goes into,
It's
you know,
experience.
it's the adventure of the hunt. So,
That's it. That's exactly right.
You know, but prepping is one of the keys. You know, you got to go through, not the night before. Don't wait the night before to go through your pack. You'll be up all night long, won't get any sleep, won't be good for the hunt.
My wife tells me that same thing.
I started a week in advance. I'm pulling stuff out of my pack going, do I really need this? Because you don't want to pack half your house and try to lug it through the woods.
I'm guilty of that.
One thing, it's
Yeah.
it's good to be prepared, but there are also such things being overly prepared.
Well, I can attest to that. You know, growing up, I was in the Boy Scouts. Now we was in a good Boy Scout group. We wasn't in one of them child molester outfits. I mean, it was the real deal what we did. And you know, I mean, you got to be careful with that stuff nowadays because people are so touchy about it.
Yeah.
But we had a legit Boy Scout group, and the motto was "Be prepared." Well, that kind of stuck with me because I'm one of those guys. I wait till the last minute. Well, when I go hunting and fishing and camping and stuff like that, I get really prepared, almost to the point where it's way too much. I mean, I've got 2 or 3 flashlights because I'm worried about one of them breaking. I've got 52 batteries in there because I don't know how many I'm going to burn up, you know, on a 2 or 3 day hike. You know, and the battery, you take a Ziploc bag full of batteries, you got a couple of D cells and a couple, you know, double A's and triple A's, 3 of each, you got some weight.
And I got,
You know.
in my pack, I got 4 flashlights. Now, do I really need 4 flashlights?
That's what we're talking about.
Probably
Probably
not. Is I like
Probably
all 4. I got one for high beam, one for low beam, one just to carry around, and I got one spare. But you know, you run into these things, whether if it's flashlights, whether if it's scent spray, whether you
Yeah.
know,
You
if
gotta- it's real
arrows,
because-
broadheads. You know, you go through all this stuff, and you got to whittle it down. And you know, it's not just a one night process. You got to kind of
Sometimes
hone
it
in
takes
on
a couple of seasons to get it figured out. My first season, I had enough stuff on my frame pack, I could barely walk. I mean, I didn't even have any meat in the pack.
Yeah.
I was just, you know, I'm having to stop every, 800, 900 yards to take a break because my pack's too heavy because I got so much junk in there. You know, that's a problem.
Well-
so it's something to think about. Even when you're day packing, you know, I got a day pack right there. Sometimes I've had that thing so full I can't hardly tote it. So it is something to
something
prepare
to
for.
consider and prepare for. And
Yes,
what I'm
sir.
going to do this year is I'm going to have one pack that stays at the camp, and that way I only pack in my pack what I need when I go out in the field. You've got to, have your fluorescent orange hunting the national forest here in Texas. I'm going to have my
Yeah.
fluorescent orange, that way I'm visible to other hunters. But yeah, a lot of it's just preparation. You look at your topo map on your phone, stake out your hunting area, come up with a game plan, then it's executing the game plan.
Them topo maps are handy.
Topo
I ain't gonna
maps
lie.
are handy.
They are.
It saves a lot of walking because, back in the old days, before topo maps, you kind of had to take whatever map you had at the time,
Yeah.
given to you by the Forest Service or the Wildlife Department, and then kind of come up with a game plan and scout. But the topo maps help refine that, and
Yeah.
it takes a lot of walking out of the woods.
I'll tell you what, I'd probably still be in the woods right now if it wasn't for the topo map. About 2.5 years ago, somewhere in there. I think it was my first year hunting in the forest. I get in there, and here's my idea. I'm solo hunting this day, right? I'm just going to give y'all a story. I'm solo hunting. I got my pack on. I'm going to hike in, okay, to a good hunting spot where I'd seen some animals in the neighborhood. I done had it figured out. I was going to butt up against some private property where I could see somebody's deer feeder from the Google Earth, all right? And I get in there and I get set up. I see some good sign, and I back out off of it, about 1,000 yards, and I find a place to set up my little one-night camp with my hammock and everything. And I get in there, and I just started cooking. I had dinner going, had my little MRE type thing ready to eat. And I hear some noises, people coming down the trail. I said, what in the heck? And it sounded like, banging and, pots and pans jiggling. I said, dang, there's somebody hiking down the trail or something. I didn't even know a trail was there. And sure enough, they come down and they're about 500 yards from me and they start pitching the tent. I'm like, this ain't gonna work. I mean, they're hammering stuff in, making all kinds of noises. I get flustered. I said, this place is blown out. Every deer in the country knows there's people here now. This just ain't gonna work. So I decided I was just gonna pack up and hike back to my truck and sleep in my truck. But it was about 2 miles out. Why? I thought I had it right, but I just looked at my map and I was trying to use my sense of direction. I crossed the trail. I hiked for about 45 minutes. And lo and behold, see, there was a hiking trail. I crossed it, hiked for about 45 minutes, and I had just made a damn circle.
You
Just like
made a
it.
circle.
I made a circle. And I came right back to the same trail. A little bit further down, and I had a little slight hint of panic. I said, oh crap, this ain't good. This is in the middle of the dang night, and I'm lost about 2 miles from my truck in the dark.
That could cause
You
problems.
know. And so I had a little wake-up call right there. But what I did is I got my compass out, my legit compass, and I remembered reading how to, line it up and pull it out and check it and all that stuff. And I set a bearing on it, set a heading, and I'd walk about 50 steps, and I'd stop, and I'd make sure I was still in that right heading. And I used it with that topo map on the, GPS, and I got out of there. But for a brief minute that I wasn't trying to use my compass, I was just trying to use my natural sense of direction. But I was lost.
Well,
Looking back now, it's kind of funny, but at the time, that was a little dicey. I'm gonna tell you right now.
going into the woods, especially in national forest, it's easy to get turned around. And that's where GPS nowadays comes in handy. And, if you go to any Bass Pro or Cabela's, the people behind the counter, they can help advise you on which is the right one to select. There's anything from simple basic all the way to the more, sophisticated and complicated ones. But I wouldn't go in the national forest without one.
I know that's right. Hang on, Taylor. We're gonna take a break real quick, okay? All right, we're back from our break. So, yeah, what to take, don't take too much. Kind of looking back, don't take too much. Have the right stuff, right?
Right.
I say be prepared in case you screw up and get turned around in the dark in the middle of national forest. And then take a compass, a good compass. Don't take the compass that's on the end of the knife that you buy from the Walmart. Don't get me wrong, I love Walmart, but if you're using that compass, you might be putting your life in jeopardy. Or if nothing else, you're going to be giving your wife a heart attack if you don't call in or show up in time.
Show
Hey,
you.
that brings up another good point. Hunt with a buddy if you can, but if you're going to solo hunt, put a plan together, print it off, write down where you're going to be and what general area and what time, by what creek or something like that, and give it to somebody and let them know when you're going to check in. Say, hey, I'm going to check in between, I'll probably check in between 10 and 2 because, it's kind of slow that time of the day or whatever. And then I'll check in again about dark or whatever.
Yeah.
Just send a text message to a relative, a friend, a coworker, whatever, somebody. Because if you don't, and if you take a chance, let's say you're crossing a stream or something, you slip and you crack your ankle trying to cross a log like a knucklehead, you never know, stuff happens.
Hey, could get snake bit.
You could get snake bit.
Never
That's
know.
true. So, have a plan, put it on paper, let people know about it, and go out there and execute your plan. Try not to deviate too much from it. I would say that, because you want to stick to your plan as best you can. And make your areas kind of broad, but, give yourself some room to move around too. 'Cause that's what's fun about it. You can, move around a little bit.
What I do is, before I go hunting, and even my wife, she keeps good track of me. She always tells me, let me know where you're at. So, wherever I'm hunting, I send her a picture of where it is on the map. That way, in the event, say if I don't call in,
Yeah.
you never know, could get snake bite, break her ankle.
Yep.
Stuff happens out in the woods. At least she can call in a search party and kind of, go looking for you. You never know.
Yep. So.
But, if it's not your wife, it could be another family member or friend. But you always need to let people know where you're at before you go out in the woods.
Especially these national forests, if that's where you choose to hunt.
'Cause-
Or any of these public hunting lands. Because there's so much land.
We've gone in there,
That's a lot of land.
we go 2, 3, however many miles.
Sometimes,
There's been
yeah.
days where we've actually hiked 4 or 5 miles out in the woods.
Yeah.
4 or 5 miles, something happens, you never know.
Yeah.
I mean, so you need a good check-in time, let the person know where your location is, And, it's just common safety out in the woods when you're hunting.
Taylor, that's a good point. I got another question I gotta ask though. Something been eating on me.
Uh-oh.
I got my Field and Stream magazine last weekend, and right there on the front page it says deer camp. And I'm just like, yes, get me fired up. Got a couple days to go. But I'm looking through there and I go, I'm looking at stuff and I understand when rifles cost some money because that's a finely tuned piece of equipment. And I can understand a scope costing a pretty good chunk of change. But for the life of me, I cannot figure out why binoculars cost so much money. I can't get over it.
This has been eating on them for quite a while.
About a week.
About a week.
I mean, I flipped through the page and one guy, he's some big name article. I'm not going to name his name because I like to read his stuff. But he's talking about, hey, this is a decent pair of glass and, it's $4.99. I'm like, $4.99, and he's like, it's on a budget. I'm like, on a budget? $499 on a budget is not on a budget in my world. Maybe to some people. I just don't get it. All you're doing is looking at something.
Actually,
you're just looking at it. You're not trying to zero in on it and pinpoint it, right?
Actually, everything that I get is on clearance. And I'm not talking about regular clearance. I'm talking about clearance on top of clearance. I want it where they just want to get rid of it.
They're begging people to take it.
They're begging people to take it. But, you can actually get a pretty good quality product, even though if it's cheap, and still have a good effect. You don't have to buy the most highest price.
Yeah, I'm not trying
National Forest.
I'm not buying the Toys R Us stuff, but
the way I look at it is, if you're spending more on binoculars rather than investing in the $48 permit to actually go do it, I got a problem with that.
Yeah.
And you can still go out in the woods and kill something and not have to break the bank to do it.
I mean, I can understand buying a loophole scope, because there's been times where I've had a not so good scope, and I get it. But you're trying to send a bullet down a barrel at an animal and try to take it ethically. But when all you're doing is just trying to zoom in on something, I don't understand why you got to spend $400 to $1,500. I just don't get it. Anyway, that's just me. I got an old pair of Tascos, and I'm going to tell you, these ain't the same Tascos you buy now. This is an old pair of Tascos. Tasco Zip. These things right here, 25 years, 30 years, still going. Clear as day, rugged, tough. I think I inherited them from my dad. In fact, I'm pretty dang sure that I did. And they work good for him. I'm using them, and I'm probably passing them on down to Carissa, but we ain't gonna spend no $499. But hey, that's just me.
Yeah.
We're almost there.
So, do you have everything in your pack? Is it ready to go?
Well, I told you, like I said a while ago, I'm sort of a procrastinator, a little bit. What I'm doing right now is I'm taking everything back out of my pack that was in there from the spring hunt, and then I'm trying to reduce weight. I'm reducing weight. I'm taking out the heavy silverware. I'm trying to reduce the mess kit, get it smaller. I don't need the factory game bag that came with it. I'm going to take it out. It's a couple ounces,
Yeah.
I do drink a lot of water, but I also carry a water filtration kit, So basically right now, I'm filtering through again, just like I did last year, trying to get the weight down, because I tend to over prepare. I feel good about this year. I feel like I'm going to be able to, take what I need. And if I get stuck out there, heaven forbid, if I got to stay a night or two out in the middle of the woods, I'll be fine. I'll have enough to do that and take shelter if something happens, but I don't have to take everything in the house.
Well, on public land hunting, the first year it's more trying to figure it out, and the second year it's more about refining your approach. This year I'm going with less is better. I actually was sitting in my recliner on my day off, staring at my backpack frame pack, and I'm thinking, okay, what can I take out? What do I keep?
Yep.
And I'm sitting here drinking coffee on my recliner trying to grapple this in my mind, and I'm thinking, well, first off, you gotta have a compass. Second off, you got your phone for the topo map. Third off, you know, you've got to have water.
Gotta have water. You need the water.
You've got to have basics. You know, knives, you got to think, okay, if I do, in the event, if I do get something out in the woods, okay, what do I need to process a game out in the field? And you mentioned field bags.
Yeah,
So
handbags.
you've got to figure out what you need to go out there to get it, when you do get it, how to process it. Then third, it's what do you need to bring it back to camp.
How many knives do you take? Honestly.
Well, I've got my Skinner, I've got my folding hunter. I've got more knives than I need, but I've narrowed it down to basically 3 knives.
You down to 3?
I'm down to 3. You know, there's a lot more, and I actually thought about bringing. I've got one that's a multi-knife, where
Yeah.
you can switch out the blade. It's got
Oh,
one
yeah.
for skinning, one for, you know, fine fillet. But actually, it's a good tool because you can have one knife, but you got 4 different blades, and it helps saves on room in the pack.
Is it heavy though? See, I got one like that, and I thought it was too heavy for me to carry, and I'm like, no, Plummet, just give me one good sharp blade on my case knife and the skinning blade, and I'm good.
And actually, you know, you said it right. If you've got one good sharp knife, you're good. Now, if you get a hog, that could be a different story because they got, you know, thicker skin. So, you know, you've got to think what kind of game are you processing, whether it be a thin-skinned deer or a thick-skinned hog. So I've got a knife where I can use on a thick-skinned hog in that case. Even bringing my Bass Pro knife sharpener with me. It's got coarse and fine.
We
That
gotta
way if
have
I'm
that
out in the
anyway.
field,
Yeah.
you know, you can sharpen it real quick and get back to cutting.
I keep one with me. I don't take my big one, but I do take a small one just, you know, for survival, just in case I'm, you know, stuck out there for months on end or something. You know, that would be a blessing, but anyway.
If you're stuck
I
out
do
there
take
for
one.
months on end, you got some severe issues.
Well, some people want to be out there.
Hopefully somebody will find you before then.
What if you don't want to be found?
That's a different story. That means you're wanted.
There might be people out there like that you got to watch out for. You know, I've heard stories about stuff like that too. Nothing in detail, but
Well, if you hear banjos in the woods next to a river, yeah, you got bigger problems to worry about.
hell, I might go up there and want to play on their fiddle. You know, I ain't that good at it, but I can play, you know, a couple things. Shenandoah or something, you know. Well, Taylor, that about wraps it up for this week's show. I know you and I are going to head out this Saturday. We might get lucky. I don't know. We ain't decided. We may leave Friday and do it the right way. But either way, we're going this weekend. We're going hunting. And we'll be out there. And I know you guys are too. And, you know, be safe. And as always, pick up your trash. And thank you for joining Hell Yeah Outdoors. And we'll see you next week.
Get her dead.
Oh.